VJ, skirt might be the sound of the moving vans leaving Southern California, the University of Southern California. In fact, Lincoln Riley, when this game was at halftime, Penn State and USC, I thought, man, they're down. Penn State's down 20-6.
Yep.
Did we really just invite another Michigan and Ohio State, another team to beat up on Penn State? Right? Because Penn State beats everybody that doesn't matter and loses the games that do. Right? They lose the games that do. I thought, we back? Are we back?
They beat everybody except
what that is?
Except who?
And then, wait a minute. USC walks in the door. Second half, meltdown. You know what? Hey, is this the biggest win of James Franklin's last 4 years at Penn State?
Oh, absolutely.
It might be. The idea that he was the fourth-ranked team in the nation, came down from 16 down, but honestly, as Ben Maller says, the better stories often in the loser locker room. Lincoln Riley, I'm just waiting to see what viral moment he'll have out of this press conference because, after he loses, he does not react well to the media.
No, not at all, man. And first of all, what's going on, man? How you doing, man?
I'm better than Lincoln Riley. I know that much.
Well, here's the thing, man. First of all, as always, welcome everybody out there in Fox Sports Radio listening land. All our fans that tune in to Martin and VJ Fox Sports Saturday Football, man. We love y'all, so let's get right to it. Now, if you ask me how I'm doing, I know that was dope, right? Thank you, man. And Mary Mack is back in the building. We got little sis back in the building. We missed you last week, mama, so it's good to have you back, man. Good to hear everything is good money. Now, if you ask me how I was doing, Monty's going to love this, who's in for update anchor tonight for the Sager. I'm doing better than I thought I was going to be doing than a certain Los Angeles coach manager. Today I did. I thought today I'd be doing better than one guy, and I'm actually doing better than the guy that's across the 10 down Figueroa because like Martin just said, and as you heard on the update to start the show from Monty Bolaños, that USC gave up a 2-score lead today against the visiting Penn State Nittany Lions and lost 33-30 at home. And myself and the great super producer Ian were just over in our little cafe area getting some water and some Joe. And I asked him, I said, you got to start to really talk about maybe firing this guy. And I got it probably happening tonight or tomorrow. If you're 3-3, yeah, tonight or tomorrow. Let me tell you why. You're 3-3. Okay, so guess what's out of the question this year? The playoff. The playoffs out of the question. They're not getting in at 3-3. But when you just kind of look at this team and the way he coaches them and how they've been up and down, right? You go to the big house and you're getting pushed around for a half, and then Michigan doesn't have a quarterback, so then Michigan can't move the football in the second half. But with the game on the line, you give up a 70-plus yard run to Mullins to set up that touchdown that kind of got Michigan off the hook, right, and got Michigan the dub. And then you come home and you start slow against Wisconsin. But in the second half, you score 4 touchdowns, you outscore them 28-0, and you win the game. And it's like, okay, game on. SC's in the Big Ten. Here we go. And then you go to Minnesota last week, and you drop a game to Minnesota. I don't want to hear about the goal line play. It shouldn't have come down to that. You recruit better out here. I not only coach, cover, and call high school football in Southern California the last 8 years. So I know the talent that's out here. It's way better than the talent that they're getting at the University of Minnesota. They're not getting guys from Bosco and Mater Dei and Chaminade and Corona Centennial and Notre Dame Academy and Thousand. They're not getting those guys. SC's getting those guys. And you can't go up and beat Minnesota. Okay, fine. And then you come home today, like you said at the half, I get foolishly pulled in. Okay, here we go, Martin. Here we go.
No, legitimately, at the half,
here we go.
I was thinking, I didn't even think about USC. I was thinking, damn, James Franklin.
Oh, of course. Yeah,
Are you really about to be the one to blow this?
Yep.
Are you really about to be the one to welcome USC to the Big Ten?
Yeah.
Is it going to be you? Is it you? Is it you? And James Franklin was like, actually, it will not be.
Yeah, only because he was coaching against Lincoln Riley. But, you blow that game today. You have a shot to win it. You let them drive and scores 30-23. They let them drive down the field and punch it in for a touchdown, tie it up. Then your kicker pushes it wide left in overtime, and I knew right there, game over, because if I'm Penn State, run left, run right, run middle, set it to where your kicker likes it, and kick a 38, 39, 40-yard field goal.
Chip shot.
And, warm the buses up. Call LAX, tell them we on our way, tell them get the plane ready. We're not staying around, we're not hanging out, we're not going to the Walk of Fame, we don't want to go see Hollywood sign. We're getting on our jet, and we're going back to Happy Valley with this dub. And I think that tonight,
keep the windows down, kids, because this is the warmest it'll be for you till March.
Absolutely. Enjoy this, but I honestly can see it happening tonight. I can see it maybe coming out and then waiting, and it be sometime midday tomorrow while we're all sitting around cozy watching NFL football tomorrow. Across the bottom line ticker on one of these games, I'm predicting that it will say USC has fired Lincoln Riley as their head coach. It's deserving. He's 3-3. You had Caleb and you couldn't get to a national championship game. You have great players, man. You got good talent. You can't get it done, and it's only going backwards. It's not getting better. Rich people that I know have always told me, whatever doesn't work, cut it quickly. What does work, double down and push it harder. This is not working in Southern California for Lincoln Riley.
I can't remember which coach said it, and I've heard it used a bunch of different times, but there's one phrase that I love. What that will be done eventually should be done immediately.
Yeah, there you know, that's great. Yeah, that's right there.
Honestly, it was my thought last week when I was thinking about the Jets and Robert Saleh. Just get it over with. Right, just get it over with. Just. It
was his last year.
He wasn't
going to be there next year. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. Just end it now. End it now. Right, and move on to the next chapter. That's where I think we're at with USC. And then also, like, when you look at his track record going into USC, he had never lost more than 2 games in a season.
No,
55-10 coming to Southern California out of Oklahoma.
Yep.
He's 22-11 at USC.
That's not
and
good
that's
at all.
With the presumptive number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft at quarterback for 2 years in a row.
And look at this. Think about it. You can't beat Minnesota. Utah slaps them around every single time they played him. Did it twice in 1 year, knocking your quarterback. Oh, they didn't knock him out the game, but injured him. He couldn't run around. He couldn't do his thing. He couldn't do his thing that he do. He couldn't be Caleb Williams. You know what I'm saying? Like you're getting, when you get beat, it's not like, oh man, they had it. It's just like, why? Like the Michigan game. And you guys know out there listening, everybody that's on Twitter, tweeting, you guys, there's not a bigger Michigan fan, maybe other than Rich Eisen in the radio, TV, sports business than myself. Maybe also Dana Crawford. Dana Jacobson, excuse me.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, yeah, Crawford was the guy she used to work with.
Jay Crawford.
Jay Crawford, there you go.
Who I imagine not a Michigan fan because he's based out of Cleveland, Ohio.
No, he's not a Michigan fan at all. I used to watch them on Cold Pizza. Great show. But, you guys know how I pom-pom for my Wolverines. But if Mullins doesn't break that run for us, Orge's not moving us down the field. So you have that game. And then as I said, like the Minnesota game, I watched that on DVR late last week again, saw the result, but went back and watched the game. And it's like, why they're more talented. Like you're bigger, you're faster, you're stronger, I believe better coach. How are you letting this Minnesota team hang in this game? And like you said, when you put the totality together, his entire story here of 22-11, you can't, that's unacceptable. In Southern California, Monty, I know I'm right on this, right? Like, is that acceptable? You're a Southern Cal girl. You're USC and Lincoln Riley, like 22. That is unacceptable here for a college football coach.
Yeah, especially like I'm not a big college football gal, right? Like I don't have a dog in the fight, and I feel like absolutely this is unacceptable. I don't know how in 90 seconds they did less than Penn State did with 4 seconds.
Yeah. Exactly.
She's dogless.
I don't even care. I don't even care. But I was like, why are they doing this? Why is there no sense of urgency? I would love, but like it's like did you not think you had timeouts? Then where's the sense of urgency if you didn't think you had timeouts?
Exactly.
Oh, you did know you had timeouts, but you just didn't care? You wanted to go for the tie and go to overtime?
And that always irks me, just as a competitive coach, man.
Right?
Don't listen. Even on the high school level now, I go head to head my head coach all the time because I go for 2. I'm the assistant offensive coordinator. I don't want to kick extra points. Yeah. I want to beat your ass all day. I want you to know when we left the field, there was no doubt that we were the better football team. So the aggression has to be there to no, you're playing at home, so you're trying to play for the tie for over. Don't do that. Go get the dub now. This is the 5th-ranked team in the nation. They are 5-0. They haven't lost. Penn State has a really easy schedule this year. They don't have Ohio State. They don't have Michigan. It's really laid out for them to get to the college football playoff out of 12 teams, of course, this year. So you have to know what's on the table and who's across the field from you. Mario, where do you stay? I mean, you don't go for the tie. You don't play for overtime, right? You go get it. You go get it if you can, right?
No, of course. I mean, that's especially if you're, to me, I'm a fan of winning the game. But this honestly reminds me of a few different guys that we've seen in football, both at the NFL and collegiate level. Because there's one thing that Lincoln Riley is undeniably elite at. That is looking at 16, 17, 18-year-old kids and say, yo, that kid is a quarterback, right? He said, that kid's a quarterback, getting him to come to his school and coming and getting him in. Like I can make him a star. Like what Denzel saying, train day, you give me 18 months, I'll give you a career. Right? You give me 3 years, I'll give you an NFL career. Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, Spencer Rattler even. You name it, like everybody. Like,
right, Spencer Rattler,
Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams.
You're right.
So, you know another guy's got that in common? Cliff Kingsbury. Cliff Kingsbury, he can find you a guy that can sling the rock.
Yep.
Sometimes these guys who are very, very good at what is one of the most important things in football, identifying a quarterback and scoring points, sometimes when they step up to the higher level of competition, it's just not quite there. Like, I know, like, Pac-12, the reason why the Pac-12 is no longer exists is because winning it didn't matter. Like, if you won the Pac-12, you didn't have an outright automatic shot to go and play for the national championship when they were under the 4-team playoff, right? It didn't matter. So now you're in the Big 10. Look, this is a different brand of football. This is a different level of football. And honestly, you know what it really reminds me of? This one hit close to home. I'm sorry to do this to you, Ian. I know you're a big USC fan, and I know that I was the savior coming through after everybody that was supposed to rebuild the program. But Michigan football was in a very similar spot, like with somebody who's trying to rebuild this brand back up to national relevance and all of that. That guy was supposed to be Rich Rodriguez, who had this revolutionary spread offense that nobody could stop. And he was running through the Big East with West Virginia. And then all of a sudden he goes to Michigan.
Pat White and Steve Slayton.
I mean, some of the best college football, some of the best college football teams you would see, right? He goes to Michigan. What happens? Pow!
Yep.
It's over with.
Yep.
All that RPO, leave people unblocked. Yeah, try it against this 6'5" corn-fed white boy from Minnesota. He's going to pound you, right? And now all of a sudden we're seeing the same thing with Lincoln Riley in the Big Ten.
Let me also tell you a few things today. Weren't and Ian, jump in on this because this is your squad, but wasn't the defense supposed to be fixed? The defense was supposed to be fixed. 5-18 they gave up today. 2 for 11 on third downs. Lincoln Riley is 1-5 versus top 5 teams. That is unacceptable at a school by the name of the University of Southern California.
Yeah, I mean, the defense was supposed to get better with D'Anton Lynn, right, the new coordinator, and it is better. Last year was really bad, but, and obviously the whole thing last year was like, if the defense can just play at an average level, Lincoln Riley's offense is good enough to where it should, take them to the moon, and that's clearly not the case.
I was about to say, how's that narrative playing out?
But you know what the issue is at the end of the game, Lincoln Riley could have won that game. He had 3 timeouts. They were at midfield. Yeah. There's no reason they shouldn't have won that game. All they needed was a field goal to win the game, take the lead. And he actually addressed that in the post-game media here. This is actually what he had to say about that clock management.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit. It was, when we had the lost yardage play on I think it was the first down. We kind of at that point started talking about, all right, do we need to use timeouts and stop the clock? I think it was a 2nd and 12, if I remember right. We were talking about, all right, do we need to use timeouts and stop the clock here? Because all of a sudden it's 2nd and 12. If you don't get anything there, then it's 3rd and 12, and you just potentially bought them a series, and we weren't in field goal range yet. So, we went back and forth on do we use them and stop the clock or not. And we felt, honestly, I felt so good about how Mike was hitting the ball that we said, you know what, when we got to, I think it was a 3rd and 6 there at the end, it's like, if we convert this, we still got timeouts, maybe go one more shot, and then obviously let him kick the field goal. So how well Mike was kicking it, I think, was the biggest reason I wanted to make sure that it was the last possession.
I don't know, VJ. It sounds like this might be a little bit too much for you when you're talking about, I love the way my field goal kicker was kicking the ball.
It's not like he's perfect on the year. Like, he's missed kicks this year, and that was a long kick. It's a long field goal. It's not like you should have just, he was kicking it great today. Like, no, he's not been reliable this year.
Bigger problem, honestly, you know how well your field goal kicker is kicking the ball because you haven't put the ball in the end zone. Lincoln Riley, see you on a college football set soon. So on Saturday morning, breaking down Illinois
and Mike Lance. He's 7-9 for the year, but he's also missed a kick under 30 yards this year. So I don't buy the explanation, Martin. He's gonna get fired. That's my prediction.
All right, why don't you do this one after Lincoln Riley at a loss?
Okay.